And welcome in Belly Up, another podcast. Welcome in Dynasty Brew Crew to the Dynasty Brews podcast. We are live on Twitter. We are live on Facebook, and we are going to be live on Belly Up TV at 9 a.m. on Saturdays. Today it is Double J in the house, obviously Justin and Justin. We are joined today by Joe Pepe, a man whose resume can probably fill up an entire notebook at this point. This is a man who, I'm just going to give it to you real quick, Joe. This is a man who won total knockout with Kevin Hart, like the obstacle course show. He took first place in that. He is a celebrity boxing phenom, South Philly phenom. But on the fantasy side, he also works for the Fantasy Pros. He works for Triple Play Fantasy. He is also at Fantasy Data, so he knows his shit, and he can knock you out at the same time. That's right. It is the South Philly Phenom, Joe Pepe.
That was probably my favorite introduction, ever. That was fantastic. That was amazing. I need you to, be my alarm clock in the morning. That's what I need.
Well, we'll do a couple recordings afterwards, and you can set it as your alarm.
Perfect. I'm in.
So, Joe, how you doing today, buddy? First off, thank you for being on, and man, tell us how you doing.
No, thank you guys. I mean, I'm always up to talk fantasy, so I'm up for that. I'm good right now. I get the Warriors playing in the background. No idea what they're doing, so I'm good. Hopefully, they're winning because I cannot see the Celtics win. It's too much of a Philly person in me. I hope the Celtics burn and crash. But I'm good, man. I'm feeling good. I'm awake. Now, as soon as we're done this podcast, I am 33 years old. I'll probably just pass right out. But we're going to pretend I am wide awake right now. So how are you guys feeling?
It is 44-37 right now. And I believe that somebody was just at the free throw line. I'm turning every once in a while myself. Because I'm a Californian boy. I'm a Warriors fan as well.
There we go.
So we're doing good. I'm doing good. Other Jay, are you doing good?
I'm doing okay. I'm that sad guy in those memes because after football season, I don't really watch anything else. It's all football for me, and then after that, it's
watching your kids.
I'm a father. I'm a father 9 months out of the year, and I do fantasy sports the other 3 months out of the year.
Wait, so when we talk about the sad guy, are you talking about that sad frog?
Yeah, no. The meme where the guy stands in the empty pool, just looking out into space.
I was going to say, because apparently that sad frog, his name is Pepe. And I didn't know that till 2 days ago.
Well, we know it's not that Pepe, though.
Yeah.
So, Justin, you are saying you are Pablo Escobar, thinking about his next move, wondering when the cartel is going to collapse and the DEA is coming in. I got you. I feel that way the other 9 months of my life that I don't have fantasy football too. So, I understand where you're coming from, man. I just want to be pushing cocaine somewhere else. Anyways, guys, let's get into it, man. We're going to be talking about the NFC East this week. And like I said in the title, is the NFC East not the NFC least anymore? What are we talking about here? This is a division that used to be, the winner would be sometimes 7 and 9. Come on, man. But they have got some firepower now.
It was sad. It was sad when it was 7 and 9 and the Giants were mad that we let the other team win and they were 6 and 10 and they were oh, we couldn't make the playoffs because of you.
That was literally though the best thing I've ever seen because the NFL totally played itself. They put that game in prime time, and then just halftime. Jalen Hurts is I'm gonna go to the bench. He's like SpongeBob, I'm out of here.
Yep,
head out.
As Philadelphia, we loved it. We were fuck them all, and we did not care.
Oh man, that I forgot about that game. Jalen Hurts straight went to the bench, and Doug Peterson straight went home.
Basically.
Talk about a way to end your career in Philly, though. I forgot that was his last game.
Yep.
He didn't care at that point. He knew it was pretty much over. He was fuck it.
Bro, he got his bling and he left. He's like, I got a ring for this city. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's a really smart man, too, because he took a year off, and then he went to the one place in the world where he can't look like a total screwball because of the guy that they just fired.
It's got to be the best job ever because
no matter how bad you do, it's like, well, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
To mention
That's
another,
usually what the next person is. That's usually what the next person is in relationships that dates the person I was just dating. Like, well, I'm not that guy. Like,
I was just gonna say a perfect, similarity is Dallas Cowboys. Remember Garrett, Mike McCarthy? It's the exact same situation. Took a year off, and then he came back and he said, "Hey, I know analytics now. I know statistics." And Jerry Jones like, hired. At least you're not Garrett.
It's amazing. Like, he literally can't. Like, you just don't say that because then when you mess up, someone's gonna be like, "Well, I thought you knew analytics." Like, why would you put yourself in that situation? And the fact that their season ended the way it did last year, perfect. Loved every second of it.
Because he knew that Jerry Jones would bite on it because as long as it wasn't Jason Garrett.
It's crazy, man. The hate I have for the Cowboys is unreal. So their season ending on Nickelodeon for me was the best thing that ever happened.
So my buddy had his mom in from Tucson the other day, and she's a mad Cowboys fan. And he's like, and we're both Niner fans. And he's just like, "Hey, Justin, I want to introduce you to my mom. She's a Cowboys fan." I'm just like, "Hello, ma'am. How you doing? Enjoyed playing you in the playoffs."
So, dude, the best thing is about that is one of my best friends is a Cowboys fan, and I made my playoff predictions. It was like we kind of just challenged each other to say how we think it's going to go, and so I had the Niners in the NFC Championship. And he goes, "They're going to beat the Cowboys? You're high." I'm like, "Dude, this is like the worst matchup for the Cowboys on paper. It's all week long." He's like, "You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous." Then he's like, "I hate you. You were so right. I freaking hate you."
Gotta love those moments, man. Gotta love them.
Oh, I got to tell you, though, at the end of the game, after everybody had played a perfect game, Jimmy G almost throwing it away kind of really threw me off. I was just like, "No, you idiot. Throw Trey Lance in. Do it."
That's how you knew they were going to win because everything was going right on schedule. Like Jimmy G messed up just enough to not lose the game. We were all good.
It's like in the game plan, too. Kyle Shanahan's like 3 minutes into the third, we're going to have a possible interception, but it doesn't happen. And then we're going to do this. Like,
we're going to have an interception. They're going to get to 10, and then we're going to have another possible interception.
Yeah. And then the refs are going to snap his fingers. They're going to go back in time and unravel all of that timeline.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, man. So, Joe, I got one question to ask you before we get into this entire thing.
Oh, boy.
Yo, how much dynamite do you got in your hands, bro? Like, like if you've never seen Joe Pepe fight before, he actually has some good fucking hands, man. He was tearing that guy up. Were you just looking at him and seeing Dak Prescott the entire time going, bah, 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 bah?
It was funny because we went into it, me and my coach, with a different game plan because it was my first professional amateur fight, whatever you want to call it. And it was like first round, just kind of like read it, dip, dodge because I'm the faster person. And then I threw one punch and he went like this and covered his eyes. And I basically said, "Nah, fuck that." And just started like throwing them. And I was like, "Yeah, screw it. I'm going to either knock this guy out or I'm going to like pass out from not breathing," because that's how hard I was trying to throw punches at that point.
You almost ended up like Homer Simpson then.
Yeah.
The one where he like punches 1,000 or no, what is it? They punch him 1,000 times, then he just like pushes them over.
Well, that's what it was like. Like the round started to end, and you like I'll show you on the video later. I actually like put my hands on my knees, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking die out here." Thankfully, I knocked him out after that because like I had about this much left in me. Like,
the way you described that was pretty much me on a hot summer day during 2 days when those were a thing. August, 90-degree weather. I'm gonna die out here and practice.
Yeah. 2 days were not a fun thing. So that thing of a past, sadly.
Yeah.
Or Eddie practice after a nice night of drinking. Like, oh man. I don't know about you guys, but I have thrown up on the field before.
Oh yeah. I was ready to throw up in the boxing match. So I was like, fuck it. If I'm gonna throw up here, because like we were in AC, there were some drinks the night before. I was like, if I throw up on the guy, I feel like that's gonna help my chances anyway. So like, fuck.
Yeah, nobody gets thrown up on and goes, oh, and just starts fucking lightning boxing afterwards.
Yeah, I figured he'd be like, what the hell? And then I could just,
gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, basically.
What is it from Talladega Nights where he's like, I'm confused by your tactics, so I'm going to just, I can't remember what he was saying.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, man. All right, guys, let's hop into this thing real quick. I've got a couple guys up here. I've made a couple snazzy little slides up here.
Look at these.
We're talking NFC East. And so they were the NFC least of the NFC East, and that was the New York Giants, guys. New York Giants got a new head coach, Brian Daboll, has experience with taking turnover-prone quarterbacks and making them into QB1s. Josh Allen as a reference. Not much going on in their offseason. They did make some good draft decisions, which was interesting. You know, they got Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, Wan'Dale Robinson, I know is a fan favorite of Justin over there. Bellinger seems to be picking up some steam. What are you guys looking at this New York Giants? What are you guys looking at for, you know, value for them in fantasy this year? Who are you looking to, you know, kind of up your team and be like, okay, I think he could be like a steal for me this year? Let's go with you, Justin, first.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple guys that I absolutely love this year. The name that no one should be, you know, that's always going to come out of people's mouths is Saquon Barkley. But I want to point out that Brian Daboll has had numerous jobs as an offensive coordinator. And every stop he's done, he's had a 1,000-yard rusher, no matter what he's done. You know, he's the guy that put Peyton Hillis on the map. He had Jamal Charles have a 1,000-yard season. I mean, that's not really saying much because Jamal Charles was a freaking stud. But then he was the one that put Reggie Bush on the map in terms of the NFL because he wasn't really a big thing coming out of New Orleans. And so when he took over at Miami, he actually unleashed Reggie Bush. He had a 1,000-yard season. So, you know, out of every stop he's had at least a 1,000-yard rusher. So I'm really just buying all in Saquon Barkley this season at the discount, especially in terms of dynasty, which is what we're talking about. But I think that he's primed for a big season. And then next season, I'm probably going to look to unload him. So buy the dip now and then sell him a year later because I don't know if, you know, Daboll being in New York is going to translate to many wins, but I know how to kind of capitalize on what I think is going to happen inside that offense.
Yeah, I mean, plus he's playing on he's playing on the final year of his rookie contract. That's always kind of tempting. You know, those guys want to ball out to try and get that second contract. They've upgraded their offensive line severely. I mean, it couldn't get much worse. You know, they got Mark Lewinsky from Indianapolis. They got Evan Neal, who was at one point thought to be maybe even the #1 overall pick. So they really did make some strides here, and I do trust Daboll. Like, we've talked about it before. You know, I'm not really huge on Saquon this year, but that's because I was huge on Saquon when he was getting 120 targets a year instead of, you know, getting 57 and saying, all right, this is what you're going to get. Daniel Jones is somebody who, you know, he's kind of turned back the turnovers. I don't know if I'm going to pick him in anything other than maybe a best ball, fourth quarterback, third quarterback type situation where maybe he has a big week or something.
Pretty much like the, oh crap, I forgot to pick a quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's the Walmart Josh Allen, though.
He's more like the Kmart Josh Allen.
Like the Dollar Tree.
Like he's got that upside for the rushing, so I'm not going for him. And like you said, he'll be a best ball thing in most. I kind of like also for best ball Ricky Seals-Jones really late because I always kind of forget to draft a tight end. So I'm always like, oh shit, who the hell should I pick out of this list? And I like him. I like him a lot. But this team, like, other than like you went through the Saquon Barkley thing, that's about the only person I think I would go for. And it's because he's in the contract year. And I think that the Giants are going to just run him into the ground. I'm very big on like running your running back into the ground and then moving on from him, like DeMarco Murray with the Cowboys years ago. Like, I think that's the smartest plan that an NFL team could do every time a running back comes up, a la Josh Jacobs, now Saquon Barkley. Like, there are a couple people this year that you could do that with. And for me, it's Saquon Barkley is about the only one I really want to touch on this team. And I'll just say that I hope Kenny Galladay is good because I have him in way too many teams. So I just need him to be good.
So I do want to point out one more guy that I think that everyone is just sleeping on, and I feel like I'm the only one that's mentioned this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but another guy I absolutely love with like my last pick in drafts is Darius Slayton. His rookie year he played 9 games. It's always been about health, not talent with this guy. His rookie year he played 9 games, had almost 50 catches and 750 yards. He followed it up with a 15-game season. He didn't even miss any games due to health. Had 50 catches for another 750. Last season, I don't know what it was. I'll call it the Joe Judge effect. He only had 339 yards. So I feel like Dable is good at getting the most out of his players. So if it's not Saquon for me, it's Darius Slayton, taking like a 5th round, 4th round pick on the guy. I also do like you said, Kenny Galladay. There are some pieces here. They're not sexy names, but if you're trying to just get a sneaky guy that could kind of break out for you and put up 750 yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns during that bye week, I'm kind of all in on Slayton filling that bye week filler for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like Slayton, especially with Shepard coming off the injury and everything. And who knows, maybe Tony gets traded. Still, nobody really knows what's going on there. So I like that. I just feel like all these receivers you can get for a lower price than you could have last year. Like Kenny, he's not a second-round pick anymore. Like I would never give a second for him. Now it's like a 3rd at most.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he's definitely
So I'll take the shot then.
Absolutely.
Totally. So I got a question for you guys. ECR right now has Tony and Galladay like literally separated by 2. Tony is 51, wide receiver 51. Galladay is wide receiver 53. At that point, who are you taking the chance on has the better season?
That's rough. I think I'm going to go Tony, and it's just because I think he offers a little more for me. Like I love Kenny Galladay. He goes up because he gets that contested catch every time. But I think Tony can blow up and give you that crazy game like we saw him do. And I don't know if Kenny Galladay could do that with Daniel Jones. Not with style of quarterback he's with Daniel Jones. If it's somebody else, maybe we see Kenny get back to glory, but I'll take Tony for now.
Yeah, I totally understand your point. I'm kind of like an old school guy. Tony has all the talent in the world, but that personality just makes me sick. He's kind of crazy like Antonio Brown. Like he's punching that dude in Dallas last year. He didn't show up to OTAs. He posted that video of him on a plane, like all pissed off because he didn't get the ball. So, I mean, I just wonder, that type of personality just makes people not want to put you in the game plan. So I'm probably going to go Kenny Galladay. I don't love either option. The best guy, I think Wandale was probably there to replace him at some point. So I don't know what's going to happen. That's just me speculating. I do like some Wandale, but it's really tough for me to like tell people to go buy anyone in this offense. Like I said, other than Saquon.
Yep, I fully agree with that. That's the best way to explain the New York Giants to me.
Yeah, and I mean even Saquon at the current price that he's at right now is RB 18. Guess who the guys that are right next to him are?
I'm going to Cam Akers. I'm just taking shots here.
I'm going to say Travis.
Antonio Gibson and Ezekiel Elliott.
Who was it?
God.
Antonio Gibson and Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh man,
yeah.
I can't. I can't wait to talk some Gibson because that one blows my mind.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Barkley. I got a chance with a 25-year-old back to possibly return to his glory too. I'll take the shot with that.
Now, what's the ECR? Where's ETN? I feel like ETN to me is more of the dilemma that I see people should be wrestling with, and I'd still go Barkley over ETN because of Peterson's preference for a committee.
All right, give me one quick second. I'll get you ETN.
I do love
ETN is 25.
25. Okay.
25. So
yeah, it's tough.
That's a situation where if you were to go with maybe like a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and somebody else in your first 2 rounds, you could easily get those 2 in the next 3 and 4. Here's the thing though, Saquon Barkley hasn't been Saquon Barkley for 2 years. I mean, he's had his injury problems. Last year, he only had 593 yards. He only had 4 touchdowns in total, receiving or rushing. It's one of those things where he's the best bet. But this, like you guys said, this offense is just something you don't want to bet on.
Yeah, and it's a first year with a new coach. Like, they're getting a whole different system. I love Dable. I think he's a good coach. I just don't know who's going to take to it, who doesn't. So I kind of get hesitant with that. I'm going to wait till he builds up that place a little bit, hopefully.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the next one. It's the Washington Redskins Commanders football team, the Nationally Associated Rugby Club of Washington, whatever you want to call them. The Washington Dan Snyders are next on our list. And we have, obviously, the additions of Carson Wentz, Trey Turner, J.D. McKissick. I'll call him an addition because he was a Bill for like a second, and then he came back. Yeah. We have the subtraction of Brandon Sheriff, who was probably their best offensive lineman at that time last year. And then, the draft, they bring in Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson, Cole Turner, Sam Howell, Chris Paul, all guys that could help this offense in some way, shape, or form. What are you guys looking at with this offense, fantasy-wise? There's Gibson, there's Wentz. Wentz had a really good low-key year last year. He went for 3,500 yards. He had 28 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Did have his fewest attempts passing in 16 games. Actually, it was 17 games last year, which is actually even worse because he didn't have 16 games. He still threw only like 355 pass attempts. Not 355. 355 completions.
Don't you disperse me in my number one fandom of Carson Wentz? I feel like if there was a fan club of Carson Wentz, I'm the one that has to be the leader of the pack.
And I don't even be the only one there. Like nobody else is showing up.
So you want to add insult to injury real quick?
Oh boy!
Guess who is right above him in ECR right now?
Who is it?
Guys, we've already talked about him.
Is it Daniel Jones?
He is quarterback 25, and Carson is quarterback 26.
This is the thing that people just do, though. Like, people just are like, well, I'll take the rushing upside of Daniel Jones. It's like, are we even sure Daniel Jones is going to play 16 games? I mean, you could argue the same thing about Wentz, but I mean, at least Wentz has been to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just not like letting go of that game against the Jaguars.
Never.
And they're just like, oh my God, he's so bad. And he has talent. He just, for lack of a better term, is a little bit of a bitch in the backfield when there's pressure. And that's kind of an issue when you're a quarterback.
The thing is, though, and I'm going to, I fully admit this is kind of my conspiracy theory here, but I really do think I remember going into the week 16 game, he was on that COVID list, and then he randomly got off before the game. I just don't think, as someone that got COVID, I was tired for probably 3 freaking weeks, and I really think that probably had an effect those final couple weeks of the season. I'm not an athlete, so I have no idea. I just know that I stay up till midnight most nights, and I was in bed by like 8 o'clock every night.
But let's be honest. I think that even in those 3 weeks of COVID, you could have went out there and handed the ball to Jonathan Taylor 40 times and beat the Jaguars.
That's assuming that Frank Reich isn't the coach of your team, though, who just consistently.
Hey, Joe, cheers to that. Yeah, you could definitely fucking give the ball to Jonathan Taylor 40 times. You were already on your lowest amount of pass attempts for your 3 full seasons.
It's rough, man. I mean, I like him better in Indy, but I like him here, especially the start this season, because he gets like the Jaguars again, he gets the Lions, he gets the Titans, who are one of the worst like pass defenses for like wide receivers last year and quarterback. So I like he's got a chance to start it. The issue with me with Dynasty is that like if he starts off bad, if he starts off bad, he's done. He's just done. He's a backup forever. And if he does well, I think it's really only going to be 1 year regardless. Like, even if he has a good season, he has to go back to Carson Wentz, MVP Carson Wentz, to get like multi-years again.
I think he's got to go to the playoffs for sure. What I will say is I think that this trade to Washington and Matt Ryan's Indy put both quarterbacks in better offenses that fit their skills. I think that Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson are way better suited for a Carson Wentz type of an arm than Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. So I think that this offense is going to suit him. And the one coach that, if it's not going to be Frank Reich, then it's got to be Ron Rivera that's going to get the most out of this guy. Ron Rivera is the man. And if, I like Carson Wentz, but if this isn't the, if he can't do it here, then he's done.
Yeah, I think he's definitely done after this. And I like Carson Wentz, but he's on Washington, so he can go kick rocks for all I care. Like, I really hope he doesn't have a good year, But there's also the revenge narrative in Philadelphia. So I can tell you right now, whatever weeks they play us, especially when they play Philly at home in Philly, Carson Wentz should be your quarterback in DFS. He's going to have 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, because that's what happens to Philadelphia. We get rid of people, they come back, they murder us every time. So whatever
John
week
Jackson
that is, whatever that week is, you get him and you get Jahan Dotson and you stack those mofos because they're going to go off on us.
At least Chip Kelly didn't. At least it wasn't Chip Kelly that traded him away this time.
Oh my God, Chip Kelly!
As a Bills fan, that's still my favorite trade of all time.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it. What a great trade!
But going back to the Washington, I am going to say this, and I'm on record as this. This shouldn't surprise you, Herrera, but this is my team. I think that Washington is going to win. Is going to win the division. That's my pick this year. It's bold. I'm not taking any of these running backs though, unless it's best ball. And if it's best ball, the best running back I think to take is probably McKissick. I'm out on Gibson.
Same.
I don't really know what's happening with them, but I just feel like if you're in best ball and you're in like the 10th or 11th round on underdog, just go take McKissick because he's going to have those weeks where he gets you like 15, 16 points.
Yeah.
10th or 11th round. What the hell?
I've been getting him late. Yeah, I've been getting him late.
You can get him late, man. You don't have to go up on him.
I was just taking a guess. I mean, yeah.
I get him pretty late. He's always like my 4th or 5th running back. And like you said, it's because I know he's going to have those spike weeks throughout the season. And I like him for PPR for like redraft purposes. Obviously, I don't really want him in Dynasty. If he has a good game, I might chip him off to get a draft pick. But the only person I really want dynasty-wise from this team anyway right now is Jahan Dotson. That's the only one. Like, I don't know about Terry McLaurin because I don't know what his future holds. So it's a little risky right now to me.
So here's the thing. I like Terry McLaurin because this is a guy who's done it with shitty quarterbacks. Like, he has had anybody who is worthy of being a QB2 on a depth chart for the past, 3 years. I mean, he's had 1 year 900 yards, 1 year 1,000 yards, and another year 1,100 yards. So he's doing work. He's kind of doing what DJ Moore did. And so same thing with DJ Moore. I'm like, get him a quarterback and let him freaking ball in the red zone.
And people want to say that he didn't do anything last year. I mean, I don't even know if we were watching football when I was watching them play last year. I mean,
it was rough.
Who was the quarterback? I mean, he's
Heineke.
Heineke.
I had Heineke a lot of places, but you had him for rushing. I mean, that's like a guy that you get off waivers because Fitzpatrick got hurt.
It's and that was the most heartbreaking thing that Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt because I was ready for Terry McLaurin to have 200 targets. I had Terry McLaurin everywhere. I don't know if we're gonna get anything like that.
He didn't even get 1 week of it. It's just the first week. And I was telling my buddy, I felt like last year if Fitzpatrick was healthy, they probably would have made the playoffs instead of maybe Philadelphia. Sorry, but
listen, stop this.
Fitzpatrick just would have went off for 40 points against Philadelphia twice, and then they still would have been 8 and 9.
Yeah.
See, I just feel like Washington's super talented. I feel like when Heineke's your quarterback, that just really killed the whole offense. I mean,
I need them to give Gibson the play to be the best that they could be, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, and they kind of proved that with the Brian Robinson pick. They kind of said, we don't trust you on the goal line because you fumbled too much. You fumbled 6 times last year. That was the most in the league for a running back. We don't really trust you. And it shows in the numbers. He ran only 54% of the time within the 5 hash mark in the goal line. That's not the right amount for a guy who's supposed to be your lead back. You know what I mean? That was only 14th in the league. You look at Jonathan Taylor. He was getting 83% of those things.
Yeah.
He was an automatic guy. And that's what they, like you said, Pepe, they need to treat him like that, but they're not going to.
You got to give him the Tiki Barber treatment. Make him walk around with the football high and tight all day long. What's that movie? You got to smack the football out of his hand? I can't remember it right now.
To get into theory here for 1 second, I mean, last season I had him in 2 spots, and in both of them I was able to sell him for 2 1s and 2 2s.
Gibson?
And yes.
Really?
Wow.
So, and you didn't want to do it at the time because he had such a great rookie season. But sometimes I feel like the best moves are the ones you make that you don't necessarily want to do, but the offer is just too good to do.
Yeah, that's definitely a good offer.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Everybody is available if I get an offer like that.
Yes, like right now, I'm not trying to sell Jonathan Taylor, but he's always available. Like if you want to give me 4 ones, let's do it.
Yeah, hands down. I'll trade him then for no issue with 4 ones.
Yeah. 2 ones and Dalvin Cook. Send him my way. He
Alexander
thinks
Madison season
gonna be gone after this year. Gonna be done. I'm okay with Dalvin Cook being gone. I'll still win a championship and still have those 2 ones.
This is the same man that doesn't think Madison's any good. So we're still.
I never said Madison's not good. I just said that Madison is on a fucking 5-game stretch where he played 2 teams, and it was Detroit and Seattle.
It helps when it's Detroit and Seattle.
Are you insinuating that Detroit's not good at defense?
Hey, they're knee biters. Of course they're knee biters.
They bite kneecaps.
Bite kneecaps. All right, guys, let's move it along to them boys. More like them girls.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, we got Dalton Schultz coming back, which is great. I love Dalton Schultz last year. He was fucking fantastic addition. I got him probably tight end 15. He was perfect for it. Even not. Dante Fowler, you got James Washington coming on. You lose Cedric Wilson, Reggie Gregory, Laurel Collins. But on the draft side, you get Tyler Smith, new up-and-coming tackle to replace for Collins. You got Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson. So, I mean, honestly, this team seemed to have fit every one of its, needs as far as what it lost. Tolbert obviously is pretty much a Michael Gallup copy, so he fits in right where Cedric Wilson will fit in. One of those two will take in more slot time or more perimeter time, depending on whether CeeDee Lamb decides to be in the slot, trying to play that Cooper Kupp role. James Robinson, I feel like he was just kind of like a burner that they wanted to take a chance on. Obviously, he's another guy who in DFS has had big weeks off and on. Tyler Smith is there to kind of fill in the Collins role. Collins had just become very injury prone. So, they need to replace him. So they put in Tyler Smith from Tulsa. And then, you got Jake Ferguson to play the Blake Jarwin role of backup tight end. So, guys, when you look at them boys, how are you – because they've got a lot of guys that are up there in draft capital right now. CeeDee Lamb is out of this world in draft capital right now. Everybody is over the freaking moon about CeeDee Lamb. He's wide receiver 7 in ECR. Dak is QB 8 in ECR. He's somebody I'm also seeing fall into the second round in Superflex. So just kind of give me your outlook on what this team looks like. Obviously still the high-powered weapons, but do we trust Zeke? Do we trust Dak? Do we trust Lamb? Go ahead.
Yeah. Pepe, you can go first if you want to.
Yeah. I mean, look, CeeDee Lamb has a chance to really, take over in the targets. Without Amari Cooper there, he's the clear-cut one, especially with Gallup being injured. We know he's going to get hyper-focused for the beginning of the year. But the person I love the most is Dalton Schultz. And I hate saying that I love a Cowboy. So, if you just see me, kind of fake yak throughout this, it's not my fault. It's what happens. But I love Dalton Schultz this year. I actually think he could be a top 5 tight end this year. Depending on how long Gallup is out, I really think Dalton Schultz could just eat through the middle all day long. We've seen that Dak trusts him. We've seen the chemistry there. And I like Jalen Tolbert, but he has to build that chemistry with Dak. Now, Dak has that chemistry with CeeDee, and he has that chemistry with Dalton. Those are going to be his first 2 options. So I like waiting, and I'll let people go through. I'll let the Wallers and the Kittles go away in, picks, and then I'm getting Dalton Schultz after that. Because after that, it's kind of a crapshoot in tight end anyway. But I love Dalton Schultz, and I do think CeeDee Lamb has the ability and the talent to be as high valued as he is right now. It's will Dak hyper focus on him? That's my only concern. I think he should. I just don't know if he will.
So my concern was, I think this is going to be the worst team in the division next season. I honestly do.
What?
Yes.
That is whoa. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Holy snapper!
The best thing I've ever heard.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
So let me paint you a picture. All right. Final 7 weeks, or we'll go final 6 weeks of the season. Your quarterback throws 15 touchdowns, averages over 250 yards a game. And then you got rid of the best pass catcher, shipped him off to Cleveland. You pretty much gave him away based on the way the market went.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're replacing him with a receiver over that 6-game stretch, didn't score a single touchdown. No game did he go over 66 yards. I mean, in one game, he only went over 50 yards in 3 of those 6 games, and that's not really doing much for you. He averaged, I want to say, how many targets over that stretch? I mean, he had all these targets, and he didn't really do anything with them over that final stretch. He averaged 6 targets a game in those 6 weeks, no touchdowns. 3 of those games, he got over 50 yards. None of those games were over 70. I just don't see the talent. I mean, he has the talent, but I just don't see how we're going to elevate him to wide receiver 1. Zeke's best years are behind him. Their offensive line, 2 years ago, they had the best offensive line in the NFL, and now they're getting old. They're not healthy. I think we're looking at a down year in Dallas. That's kind of the way they operate, by the way. It's like good 1 year, bad the next. And I think we're looking at, a year from now, Sean Payton being the head coach of the Cowboys. That's just the way I see it happening.
Oh, man.
So I got to ask you something. Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott. They had a choice. Who are you going to start your roster? Who are you going to put that fantasy roster on?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go crazy. It's got to be Dak.
Yeah, it's got to be Dak.
So why can't he, get on that next level with, Gallup's going to return probably like week 5, 6 after that ACL surgery. Like Pepe said, I mean, Schultz is his safety valve. This is a team that relies on its offense, its high-powered offense.
Yeah.
So
I think the team kind of relied on the
team. On Dak after his injury last year. Dak was actually better after his injury than he was before. I looked at the numbers from week 9 to week 18. So he got back week 9. He was QB4 during that span. Before that, he was QB10 from week 1 to week 6.
Yeah, but I mean, look at where they were playing, though. They played Washington and the Giants twice in that stretch.
It helps. The thing that I think is going to actually hurt the offense this year.
You act like that's going to change.
Yeah.
You act like that's going to change.
That's so true. But the thing that I think actually hurts the offense this year is that there is no way that the defense gets that many turnovers again. So they're not going to get as many opportunities this year.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because the thing I point to is that season that Mitch Trubisky took the Bears to the playoffs. The Bears defense was up here. They were getting turnovers. Defense is probably one of the hardest things to repeat, and that's why the Bills deserve so much credit for their defense, because they're consistently good. I have found, and I want to do a research project on this. I haven't gotten the chance to do it yet, but I would guarantee you that defenses that finish top 10, I would bet you 70% of them fall out of the top 10 the next season. Because it's so volatile with defenses. It's not like offenses where you have the quarterback who controls the ball every play.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. And I know that you really don't like the Cowboys this year.
Yeah.
I know you really don't like the Cowboys this year when you're like, remember that year that Mitchell Trubisky took the Bears to the playoffs? That's how I know you don't like the Cowboys at all this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to score points. I really, the crutch of my argument is that I'm with you. I'm totally in on the tight end. I don't buy the CD hype. I haven't seen it. And, full exposure here. I hate the Big 12. I don't trust Big 12 players that much. So I just haven't seen CD live up to the hype that he's been giving, that he's kind of been given, really. And I'm in on Schultz, and I'm kind of in on Zeke to a certain extent based on his price, because it's like he's dead. They're going to run the wheels off him before they kind of ship him off to his grave next year.
Hands down. You got to run, like, just like we were saying, why can't I think of his name right now? Saquon Barkley. Same thing. Run the brakes off him, and then you go to Tony Pollard. It's not an issue for the organization. They have someone. So run him to death. And I put out a tweet a while ago about second most receptions inside the 20 for a running back. Leonard Fournette was 1. Zeke was 2. So you're going to get those chances down there still this year, and he's going to hopefully be healthier. I don't think he's going to play with a bum knee all season this year too. No. And he's running at 22 miles per hour, But I'm with you on that price. I'll take Zeke. I don't know where I'm at with Tony Pollard. I got to tell you, I go back and forth every day, so I'm the wrong person to ask for Tony Pollard.
I just feel like he's the flavor of the week, and that's usually my sign in Dynasty is to just not. I just feel like, with my experience, I've been doing Dynasty since 2017, so not super long, as long as I did redraft. But it just feels like whenever the hype is all around a player, the next big thing, it very rarely comes to fruition. Baker Mayfield was the next big thing the year after they fired Hugh Jackson. The year after that, I can't remember who it was. It's just there's kind of always a flavor of the month, and this year it kind of feels like in Dallas, that's Pollard.
Listen, I mean, they had that years ago, and I fell for it with Jerick McKinnon. Now, yes, he's had injuries that ended him every time, but I was like, oh, this guy finally got out from behind Adrian Peterson and the Vikings, and he's going to be amazing. Look at his spark score, and nothing. Yeah. So I get that. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting value kind of where Kareem Hunt's been valued the past couple of years as the top backup / handcuff. They really think that he's going to be pushed that way. And it might happen, but I don't think he offers what Kareem Hunt offers, so I don't think he should be, viewed as the 31 through 33 type of guy where you're going to pass up on an actual starter to go grab this guy.
Yeah.
One small point, if you do want in on this volume, if the defense is as bad as I think it's going to be and they're playing from behind, I'm kind of like the king. I'm kind of like the king of I'm an accountant, so I love cheap things. And if I'm getting a cheap portion of this offense, it's probably James Washington.
Yeah. Very late. I love that.
Yeah.
No, that's an interesting take. James Washington. I mean, he fits the mold of what they want at that number 2 perimeter to fill what Gallup's going to be playing for, those 4 to 6 weeks that he's out. So, I mean, he could definitely, if Tolbert doesn't prove anything in camp, he could definitely be somebody who fits right into that role and plays you a couple of good DFS weeks, maybe some best ball weeks.
As long as that boot thing wasn't a big deal, I'm fully on board. Because he had that boot in practice, but I didn't really get to read much into that. So
I didn't. I actually didn't read that. So make an interesting point.
For some reason, I thought you said booth, and I was like, booth thing? What
the no. He was at practice with a boot on, and I couldn't I didn't get a chance. I was at work and I didn't get to read it. So as long as that's not super serious, I love that take.
I was kind of concerned when you said booth that someone had a photo of him using a phone booth, because if you're doing that, then you're just out. I don't know. I don't trust anyone that uses a phone booth in the year 2020.
You're completely out of touch. We don't want anything with you.
Listen, if you can find a phone booth, you can find a hole in a zone. I trust you.
Funny thing, they just took the last phone booth out of New York. It's pretty hilarious.
I saw that.
I took a photo one time on my Facebook, and I was like, I found a fossil. I feel like it's so true.
All right, guys, we got a quick comment from our good boy Z. He says, the more I watch Brian Robinson, the more I'm concerned for Gibson. So are you guys, we're kind of all thinking the same thing at this point. Brian Robinson might be the end of Gibson. I mean, let's face it, Alabama running backs do really well at the next level. Yeah, I mean, you just got to feed through Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Damian Harris. They all do really well in the red zone at the next level.
Yeah, and for me, the problem is that not only did they draft him, but they brought back J.D. McKissick too. So they were like, no, we need multiple people here. We don't trust this at all.
Now, I do want – I mean, that's a great comment. I mean, one thing that I hadn't really considered after just trashing on Gibson – is there a world, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I could be completely wrong on this. I mean, Gibson was he was such a utility knife in college. I'm wondering if Rivera's kind of changed course, and if we're going to see Gibson move roles, kind of. I mean, I haven't seen anything out of OTAs, but if Robinson's the real deal, is there a situation where we could see Gibson kind of move into a split out wide and do kind of things that way, kind of like a Wandale Robinson type role, because he has the frame to possibly do that.
See, I don't
like the idea. I like the idea. I don't think Ron Rivera is going to do it though.
Yeah, that kind of defeats the purpose of bringing back McKissick. I mean, if you're going to have somebody with hands that you trust, why wouldn't you just put him at that running back position? Why would you split him out wide? I mean, at that point, you'd probably want to split McKissick out wide and use him that way rather than Gibson. I mean, Gibson hasn't really shown the sure hands that he had as a receiver at Memphis. So
and Curtis Samuel is still there, and he's from Carolina with Ron Rivera's spot. Yeah. So there's people.
Listen, it's just an idea. I'm still firmly out on Gibson, but I just feel like if he's going to reemerge, Robinson could be good. I don't trust anyone. I'm just saying that if Gibson's gonna live up to his hype, I feel like it might not be a running back because there's so many mouths to feed there.
Hey, let's keep sliding him down because I'll take him at round 4. Hell yeah, I'll take him at round 4.
I'll take the shot at 4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this is what Pepe has been looking for the entire time. And I even got your boy on there.
Yes. Yes.
AJB,
I love it.
His new uniform. Had to look far and wide for that one. Whoever did that, thank you so much. So you're looking at AJB, obviously the main acquisition. They went and got some defensive players. I actually like James Bradbury. I think that they've always done a great job of bringing in secondary players that can come in and fucking kind of fill that or put a Band-Aid on that defense and kind of just play rough ball like Bradbury loves to do. You add Zach Pascal, who's kind of a low-key, really good fucking signing because, I think this man's like 6'2" and he's a slot receiver. If he could actually, work in the middle while Devontae Smith works on the outside and, A.J. Brown is downfield looking for the ball, that could be something fantastic for Jalen Hurts. On the draft edition side, it was a lot of defense. Cam Jurgens kind of comes in. He's going to be probably Jason Kelsey's replacement. And then you got Grant Caltera coming in as the tight end. Pepe, we've all been waiting for you to talk on this one. Tell us how you're feeling about these guys. Jalen Hurts, obviously, Miles Sanders, you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith. Who are you liking this year?
Man, the only way I would like this graphic better is if it said departures, Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. That's the only way that this thing would be better. But this whole thing is I love how hard my team tries in the offseason at least. We at least put the effort out every year to get better every chance. And now we got an A.J. Brown. I think he's 24, 4 years, $100 million. He's a stud. And I like him because he kind of fits a little bit better with Jalen Hurts for me. Because Devontae Smith, he's a bit more of a timing receiver, where A.J. Brown is a bully in my eyes. Just get him the ball, watch him do his thing. Where Smith is a route runner. He's great. He's a little magician out there. But Jalen Hurts, I don't know if that's his best option. So now that he has both of those, he has Dallas Goedert down the middle and another running back, like we've been saying all day in this division, whose contract is, on the end, that they could just run the brakes off of with Miles Sanders. And because it's the contract year, I think he'll finally stop saying oh, my groin hurts, oh, my hamstring hurts, and taking the game off. I think he'll actually play because that's my only issue with Miles Sanders. So talented, but I think he's a bit of a baby. But the only thing, and maybe you guys might think I'm nuts, so I'm curious what you think. I'm actually somebody, as much as I love Jalen Hurts in redraft this year, I'm trying to sell him in Dynasty right now. Because I don't think you're going to get a better package unless he becomes the MVP this year.
Yeah, no, I was saying this last year about Lawrence, but even with you sometimes you have to look at the market and you say, okay, say you own Patrick Mahomes after the MVP season, right? If your goal is to rebuild and you're gonna, and say you sell him, sometimes you have to like look at the market and say, is it going to get any better for him? And like with Jalen Hurts, there's a scenario next year with all the picks that he's not the guy in Philadelphia. If he doesn't prove it this season, he's not it. But he's still going in the top 2 rounds of Dynasty. Like I feel like it's prudent to sell him now because the cost is great, especially if you drafted him in the second round, his rookie season. You're just cashing out on that. Like that's just free money at this point. But yeah, I'm totally with you.
Yeah, I'll buy everybody else on the offense. Yeah, I'll buy everybody else. But like you said, he's round 2. So you kind of get to see like, and I like seeing who drafts Jalen Hurts because then I look at them and I'm like, okay, they're going to do the risky picks all draft. That's
Yes.
the type of gunslinger they are. So I could kind of figure out what they're doing on the board.
The only people I make fun of more than people that draft Jalen Hurts are the people who draft Trey Lance, who hasn't played more than 2 games yet.
Yeah, I was like, he's gonna raise his hand. I was like, I haven't even been in the draft with him. He's gonna raise his hand.
I will say, as a Bills fan, I was guilty of it. I own Josh Allen just about everywhere, and now I don't because I got such good offers for him. But sometimes you just got to cash out on those risky late first round picks that seem to work out. But as far as this goes, the last, towards the end of the season, this is my favorite player in Philadelphia, and I target him everywhere, especially with the acquisition of AJ Brown, and it's Dallas Goedert.
Yes.
I mean, to finish out the season, he had 7 targets against Washington. The last 4 games was 7, 4, 9, and 6 targets. This is Jalen Hurts' go-to guy, and I think he's kind of going under the radar because everyone assumes that AJ Brown's going to come in and assimilate to that offense really quickly, and he might. I just think that Goddard's the safety blanket, and he's still going to get his. The guy I worry about the most with AJ Brown is honestly Devontae Smith. I think they're going to be competing for the targets. I don't think that the target share is going to change much for Dallas Goedert, in my opinion.
No, yeah. I love that. I love that because I've been like drumming, like being the leader of the drumming band, the marching band on Dallas Goedert because you got AJ Brown, you got Devonta Smith who will command like a cornerback and like coverage and everyone to watch him too. And then Dallas Goedert just runs around the middle and gets it every single time because like you said, he's the safety valve.
Hurts will kind of run around, and then Goddard's just Goddard's really good. I have found, and I haven't gotten into the film too much, but I feel like when I watch games, he's really good at finding those holes in the zone. Like some of the best that I've seen actually at the tight end position.
Well, he learned from people like Zach Ertz. I mean, you get to be in a room with him, you learn how to fall into those holes. Yeah, which sounds terrible, but you know what I mean.
We've all fallen into the wrong holes before. But anyway.
My wife. Oh boy, she's married me. I'm just joking.
4 times.
I was saying because she married me, but you went there. You did it.
Hey, I have no problem going there. It is 10 o'clock at night. But anyways, yeah, this is obviously a very talented team. Jalen Hurts at QB7 worries the shit out of me. A lot of it's because, like you said, Pepe, dynasty-wise, that seems like a terribly risky move. Like, you're like, all right, is this guy going to succeed? I'm not really into it. I'd rather draft Trey Lance in the next round than draft Jalen Hurts in the first round. But that's just me. D'Amico Ryans, by the way, he said that Trey Lance is throwing the ball right over his defense, which I am loving. I'm loving to hear that. A defensive coordinator would never say that his quarterback is any good. So that's obviously, validation right there. Miles Sanders, I love that he had 0 touchdowns last year, which means there's going to be positive regression this year, right?
God, I hope.
It can't get much worse, can it?
Nah, it really can't. I don't know how that even happened.
AJ Brown at wide receiver 9. I don't know what to feel about that one.
I like it. But I might be the wrong one to ask that.
Do you?
Because
do you worry about his injury history?
I
do.
I do. Only because Philadelphia is very bad with injury history. So I swear our strength and conditioning coaches are terrible. And this might be because this might just be because I am in the fitness world for a real job and have the degree in kinesiology. But we are always hurt. and I think our strength and conditioning coaches are terrible. So I'm a little nervous about it, but we gave them all the money. We're going to use them. Like, we don't pay somebody to not use them.
Yeah, people never talk about strength and conditioning, but as a Bills fan, it's a real thing because before they brought in McDermott, I was actually, you can ask my friends, like it's hilarious. The day they hired him, he fired their whole staff. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe now our players won't get injured every freaking week. And since he got there, they actually develop plans and do stuff, and like their injuries have gone down significantly rather than before that. It's a real thing that people don't ever really consider, actually.
Well, Philadelphia, hire Joe Pepe. He will get you strength and conditioning.
And I'll box every Cowboy. So, like, you get, like, both.
There you go, bro. And he'll throw hands with Dak Prescott. How do you not want this man on your team?
Hands down. I was just saying I would fight Delaney Walker today. How we got there, I have no idea.
I think Delaney's got about maybe 100 pounds on you, but yeah, it's all right.
I just gotta, stick and move.
Hey, full disclosure here. If we ever meet up for a beer or something and we're at a bar and you try and challenge someone to a fight, I will. I'm not.
He's going to challenge the person for you. That's what he's saying.
I'm not guaranteeing that we understand. I'm going to evaluate who you're fighting, and I'll kind of referee. But
I am never that guy at the bar, which is the funniest thing because I'm like, but like when I'm at the bar, I'm either sleepy and want to go home, or I am way too hyper. But I've never been like the guy that's like, yo, F you, like we're gonna fight.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm like you actually. When I drink too much, like in college, I would literally just fall asleep. Thankfully, I'm the type of guy to try and calm down a fight, even though I don't know anyone, than it is to like get involved in a fight.
Yeah. No, you have to mess with people I care about for me to want to fight you outside. Otherwise, like it's apparently like illegal for me now because I've been in a boxing match. Because apparently it's like a different thing with my hands. Yeah. So I gotta have slapping fest with people. That's how I have to get through
that. You got Joey Tribbiani hands now, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. All you got to do now is you got to find somebody else who's got that celebrity card too, and be like, "Hey, bro, you want to throw hands in the street?" Like, I'm not even trying to fight you because I'm angry at you. I just want to fucking fight you.
Listen. Right now, it's looking like the next one might be in August, so we'll see who wants to do it with me. If Delaney Walker is watching and wants to step up, I'm here. Apparently, that's a thing in my group chats. So if Delaney Walker wants it, he could get it.
I hope you're
bro, here's the challenge. I'm throwing it out there for you. I'm going to be your promoter right here. Frank Gore, enter the house, son.
Oh, yeah. Hands down. Especially because even though it was a smart move by him, he played the Eagles. So me versus Frank Gore, I'm all in for that.
Can I just go full? I hope that your friends sent you the meme where it's like, I want Holyfield. Where Chris Farley's doing that.
I know exactly which one. They did not, though. So they dropped the ball.
They got to step up their game on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Well, we have to have you on before your next fight because we got to be the promoter on that one. And but it's been a great show, man. Thank you for coming on. I want to throw this at you because you are the birthday boy this week. If you didn't know, Joe Pepe had a birthday this week, and this is for him. This is our birthday present to him.
I don't know if I can be associated with the show anymore.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Thank you.
Tell us where we can find you. Tell us how we can get in, contact with your information, and tell us where the fans can find your contact or your content.
So all my articles right now are with Fantasy Pros. Every week I do a show with a couple of the guys from Triple Play called the Tripwire. So you can go to the Tripwire Pod, follow us there. Otherwise, it's Instagram, Twitter, JPEP20. I made it very easy for myself in case I ever forget my login. So it's JPEP20 I'm there on every social media, and come by, trolls, friends, whoever. I talk to everybody.
And also, I haven't seen your kicks in a while. That's the best part of following Joe.
I haven't been at work the last couple of days because I'm doing a home renovation, so that's why. But when I go back, I'm gonna make that stupid ass kick, all right? Because it's pissing me off now.
Well, we got so much to look forward to. And like I said, we got to have you on before your next fight with Delaney Walker or Frank Gore. For Double J, we're out. We will be back next Thursday. And everybody stay frosty, bro.